Oh man, DirtX Podcast is proudly presented by DiecastDeals.com. Use code DirtX at checkout for 5% off and please stay green.
Welcome back to the stupidest podcast on dirt, the Dirt Podcast with Jacob Dove along with Jacob Perry for episode 9. We'll be recapping the weekend with some dirt racing along with some silly season stuff, the topics that you all been waiting for. We wanted to quickly talk about what went on this weekend. I know it was at Volusia Speedway Park for some late models and modifieds. It was a lot of fun. I know Jacob was watching some racing as well. Hey, we haven't even done a episode from last week, so we want to go ahead and congratulate Devin Moran for getting the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Championship. Obviously, Jacob was there for that. So, kind of tell us about your experience with that.
I was scared. They really pushed the program along, and we had a day race for 100 laps, and I was worried. 9 out of 10 times how it turns out is how everybody knows it rubbers, and Eldora has not been the greatest Eldora the last few years. So I was like, I was internally pissed, but the race was good. There was a lot of social media hate for it, undeservingly. The race was good. Devin ran a smart race. He ran a clean race. And he did what he had to do. And Ricky was trying to do what he had to do. I kind of gabbled, with him a little bit. He said he just over tightened, and that caused him, to hit the wall. He was trying to overcompensate in every way, throttle, brake, and it didn't work. Lost the spoiler early, lost the right side of it, and I knew it would be hell after that. First and foremost, though, we're back. Too long of a break, but we're here. I've got many messages. What the hell's going on? Da 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 da. Everything's fine. We're back. Let's move forward.
Yeah, and I have to take part on my end. Wasn't feeling the 100% best after my trip to Talladega. I will say what happens in Dega stays in Dega, so I won't comment too much on it, but it was a great time overall. If you haven't been there, just go there. It's an awesome experience, whether you're a NASCAR fan or not. There was plenty of people there just partying, having a good old time. Definitely a lot bigger in person. I grew up watching on TV, even the Talladega short track. I've always watched that as well. And yes, it is dusty. I got red clay in places I never thought I would, but I'm pretty sure I still got some in my vehicle. But it was a great time. Had a lot of fun. Saw Zach Mitchell get the win on the first night. Corey Hitchcock got the win on the second night with the Southern Thunder Dirt Series. And then this weekend, I went over to Volusia. It was a lot of fun. Had 5 classes, but they tried to get it done as fast as they could, and saw one of our good pals, Bubba Rolling, get the 602 win. So congrats to him. And exciting features. Old Buzzy Rudiman was out there, 84-year-old, getting ready for the Rudiman Memorial coming up here next month. He was out there banging with the youngins, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you get the Chinese food?
No,
What? You're fucking fired, dude.
literally, by the time my dad and I went down in the field, we were not eating at all.
Yeah, I mean it's a long trip. I love Volusia. First and foremost, I'm highly jealous that you went. But the concessions there, like nobody talks about this, but they have the widest variety of concessions. And if you go down for speed weeks, dude, it's heaven because you don't eat the same shit every night. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I was unfortunately not able to see any alligators in the pond in the Pat Pit area, so I was hoping to get a picture and send it to you.
You just didn't go with the right people. Anyway,
So moving on to some other racing that happened this weekend. Why not? We get into why not. Ashton Winger ended up picking up the big win on Saturday night for $20,000. A lot of controversy there at the end between Ethan Dodson and Tyler Erb. It feels like Tyler Erb's been running into everybody these past couple weekends with Max Blair at Eldora. You had that run in with him as well. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I don't know if you watched the feature or not, but it seemed like it was a pretty exciting race.
uh, Turbo's going to do turbo shit. It is the same thing over and over. Everybody knows what he is. He knows what he is. He embraces what he is. Um, you can't be surprised at it. I mean, it's like the same movie over and over and over again. I mean, if you see Turbo coming and he shows you a nose, you better hope you're prepared the next corner to eat a slider. Like that's just the thought that has to go on up here. You know what's coming, and I think Dotson knew, but he couldn't do much about it. And his post race interview was great. I actually just saw it. I was waiting on you to get your makeup on and everything like that. Um, but he says, I had a choice to either junk my car or junk his, and I chose his. And that's 100% the truth. And that's the first time I've heard somebody put it like that. When a driver comes in and literally parks it right on you, you have a choice. Either you stay in the throttle and probably damage both your cars, or you back off and then who knows what the hell could happen. You don't know how far somebody is behind you. You don't know if you're going to go up and over the wall, hop the cushion, car gets tight. It's just, it is what it is. And Turbo's trying to make ends meet. He's trying to make a living too. And if throwing dive bombs is what he's good at, then he's going to do it. So, no, I don't like seeing that shit. But as a fan, part of me does. It creates excitement and everything else. And I'm glad we have Turbo for these exciting routes. But man, he's cost some people some money for sure.
Yeah, seems to be the new trend here lately. We saw Zach Mitchell get his win taken away from Southern Raceway when he had the tire test fail with the lab. So then now with the news that Ashton Winger got disqualified from his win at Falls with the Falls Frenzy. Obviously, Winger's more of a Southern dirt track racer, so it was a surprise that he was able to go up to Falls and beat all those Illinois dirt racers. But no knock to him. He did put out a statement saying that he explained the first time that he got disqualified for a left rear. This time it was a right rear, and then he ends up winning this weekend. So this is like a trend now. These guys are getting disqualified and end up winning, so it's really making them look bad. And I'm sure they're probably taking an extra look now when they win.
I have a proposition, and this is for anybody that listens. And if you know somebody that I'm about to mention, please send it to them. I want a crew chief, a crew guy, can remain 100% anonymous. We can negotiate an undisclosed amount of money, but and and many other people have hinted on this, but I want somebody to come on here. I don't know if you ever watched like the Vice shows where they put the ski mask on, they change their voice. We'll do whatever. We'll figure it out. But I want somebody to come in here and sit, and I want to know what the truth is, their version of the truth, rather, whatever it might be, because I'm getting tired of people saying, no, we didn't dope, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. But something has to be happening, right? If the whole field good, but you, something's different, regardless if it's legal, illegal, whatever it is. But I'm tired of he gets busted, candid. Oh, no, we didn't do it. The testing's wrong. And I don't agree with the testing. That was on the last episode. If you want my opinion on that, go back to the last episode. But
Mm.
I want the truth. I want to cut the bullshit. I want, and we'll ski mask you up. We'll do whatever. You don't even have to come on here if you don't want to. You do a recording and we'll play it or what have you. But I want to know the truth of what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. And, obviously, this is Winger's second offense, right? So it's starting to build up this reputation. You don't want to just go out there and call these guys cheaters, right? You want to kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. But if it keeps happening, you kind of have to start questioning, like, what's going on here. And I know he put out a post, so make sure to go over to Ashton Winger's Facebook page if you want to see that part. But yeah, definitely, he says he was getting his tires from one source and one source only. We've seen other excuses in the past, like, oh, there was substance on the track, or the track made the tire get absorbed with something and it showed up in the lab as illegal. So we could go on and on, but
Man, I feel like we've heard every angle of excuses for this shit, right? I mean, I have physically seen a track promoter and owner take ownership for a certain person failing a test, and it was Bobby at that time. And when Bubba said, I think there's something in my surface that popped the test. Okay, well, what the fuck are you putting on your track then? So it's like I feel like we've heard every orifice and every corner of this shit. I'm tired of it. I want to hear what's going on, and it could, like I said, an anonymous crew member. We're not going to tell anything. We'll figure something out, but I want to know what they've seen, what they've done, past, present, future. Don't matter. Like I want some insight for this, and I put out a bounty. Let's go.
And moving on to Atomic Speedway this past weekend in Ohio, it was the Blue Horn Show. Mike Marlar back in the Delk ride, got the weekend wins Friday and Saturday. Devin Moran ended up getting second behind him both nights. Kind of surprised, but Marlar kind of needed this little shot in the ass, kind of run. He's had a up and down year. Left Skyline, and now he's back in his old ride and doing Blue Horn things. What are your thoughts on this? I wasn't able to really watch much of it, but other than the highlights, and it seemed like Marlar was really strong.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch much of it either because the Flow app was fucking terrible for me this weekend. I'm not sure if anybody else had the issue, but I couldn't get that shit to work no matter which way I did it. But man, it's amazing. It's amazing how this team I wouldn't say thrown together. I'm sure it's been in the works for a while, but first couple of races in, and Mikey, he looked good at Eldora. He looked great at Eldora. He comes here and waxes the Lucas Oil champion and Josh Rice and brand new equipment. And Rice is very familiar with this place. Not that Marlar isn't or anything like that, but Blue Horn is back, and Blue Horn is back early and fast.
Definitely, you mentioned about Eldora too, and I wonder just if Marlar keeps finding victory lane, how much does the schedule look next year? Obviously,
Yeah.
it's not going to be full time, and we're going to get into the full time drivers we think are going to be running next year. But if Marlar's going to be still competitive, right? It kind of depends on how many races he has on the schedule next year.
Yeah, Mikey, if you listen, Ronnie Delk, if you listen, use this speed, man. Give us one more year. Go until it doesn't go no more. The late model world needs you, and the way you're running right now, we need you more than ever. So commit. I don't go to speed weeks, do whatever you got to do, figure out what you're going to do, but let's go one more year and go till it's broke.
Right now, it's the time for everybody's been waiting for, and it's time to let's get silly for silly season. Before we get into that, though, CushnBangn, you started a new Etsy store. I want to tell everybody about that.
Yeah, merch is coming, boys and girls. I am very amateur at this. I have figured out a way to both, not hold a bunch of stuff in stock, so it'd be a shipping service. But we got a couple things listed. There she is. There she is. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. It's not just gonna be Dirt X stuff. It's gonna be stupid shit that we say, and put it on some, I can do underwear even, and there will be underwear, just so everybody's aware. And no secrets here. There will be men's and women's underwear probably, and we can do everything. So I'm gonna have a ton of fun with this, and I'm stoked, man.
Yeah, definitely. You're already sending over some hats, and I know we've been trying to get some t-shirt ideas going. So if there's anybody that want to comment about what they want to see that they may want to purchase, let us know. We'll try to put it together, and we'll put it out there on X and social media for you to see.
Yeah, listen, if there's any amateur, I don't want to single out teenagers or anybody like that has some skills and needs some, beer money or what have you. I will pay for good shirt designs. I can't afford to pay the top guys just yet, maybe in the future, but I am open. Please inbox me what you have, and I can send you ideas if you want to work for some beer money.
So now into silly season. We're going to start out with the late models here, and the first announcement was kind of a shocker, but not a shock at the same time.
Was it?
It just seems like it was kind of weird timing for Donald McIntosh to split ways with Hicks Racing and the 79 car. He wins Rookie of the Year with the Lucas Dirt Late Model Series, and then the next day announces that he parts ways. So what are your thoughts on this? I know people are kind of speculating he might go to a Coltman Farms car just because he's part of the MPM marketing group and he's sponsored by them. What do you think on this?
I mean, that's the easy choice, right? I don't see it happening any other way. And Coltman Farms has done great things for all of our sports, first and foremost. And he pumps a lot of money into every which way orifice. And it not uncommon for somebody to pop out of a Benji Hicks right after one season, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. Can we talk about Rookie of the Year? Because it's a participation trophy at this point, right? Because half the guys that enter don't finish, and it was what, down to two cars? Is that correct, or am I facts wrong?
Yeah, pretty much between Donald and I think Dan Ebert.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, give it to him, but I don't know. I don't know. Rookie of the Year isn't what it used to be. No, I don't have any way to fix it. I don't know, but yeah, no, I back on topic here. I'm ADD. Yeah, he's gonna go to a Coltman Farms car, and if not, then something else is gonna happen that's gonna throw dominoes everywhere. With the year Tanner's had, it's hard to see him not being, in a hot seat to in or out if they don't want to field three cars. I think they field three cars. I think Tanner's safe just from a personal standpoint. But Tanner needs to firm up a little bit, man.
Obviously, another topic that a lot of people are talking about, and we kind of knew this behind the scenes, and we weren't the only ones, but it became official that Josh Rice was replacing Dalton Wilson at JRR. Obviously, Dalton Wilson's a great guy, not taking anything with him. He, finished 8th, I believe, in the point standings this year with Lucas, and not the best. I've talked about it before. I seen him win our final East Bay race down here during speed weeks. Yeah, that was a big win, and I was not expecting him to win, to be honest. But kind of went quiet after that. He's won a couple of wins here and there. He's done pretty well in some crate stuff and some instances with Big Frog Motorsports. But obviously, that team's near me, and nobody stays in the Big Frog car very long. So everybody's talking about where Dalton Wilson's going to go. Just before we talk about that, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know you like Dalton too.
I do. I'm a big Perm fan. And let's get the facts straight. He didn't run bad. I just want to clear the air in that. It's a mixture of things. They had a lot of equipment get broke. Holy shit, dude. Monster at this time of night? You are younger than me. I'd be up all night. And don't clip that. That stays in. Fuck. But yeah, no, Perm ran good. I mean, he was a solid. I mean, he was in the top 5 in points for most of the season, if my memory is correct here. And this is another case of what we talked about with sprint cars a few episodes back, is if you kick Perm out, who do you think's going to be better? Who's on the market that's better? And Josh Rice was the answer. And I don't disagree with that. I think he needs a shot. He has matured, and the Josh Rice I knew up until this year, maybe middle of last year, was if there's a wall, he's going to ride it, right? There's no spoiler safe. There's no cushion safe from Josh Rice. And then he came around. He started, running middle a little bit. You don't see him on the bottom too much. That's just kind of not him yet. But I feel like he's maturing into a driver, and I feel like, JRR saw that as well. And they're like, okay, we can do something with him. He's talented, and he very much is. He's been the top regional guy for many, many years. Everybody argues him and Fager for the top guys, not on a full-time series. And I think they hit the nail on the head, and I'm excited to see it. I hate that it's at the demise of Perm, but hopefully he finds a seat somewhere. I know there's a few being thrown around, but but back on the Big Frog car, and nobody says, "Oh, that seats," they kick everybody out. That's not what that car is, folks. I just want everybody to know that that's not a full-time car. That is, I think, a Vipers partnership now, and then with Big Frog, that's hey, we need a driver for this event. We're looking to make some money, and if whoever's free gets in, and that's okay. Like, please don't come down on Big Frog because of what they are. It's by design.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen, T-Mac when he split ways with Rocket One last year, filling in with that car. He ran with that.
Jimmy Owens?
Jimmy Owens, yep. He ran this year with it and done solid in it. And yeah, it's just, I know we joke around about it's a retirement home, but really it's just a ride for guys to, be able to keep running even in their situation. And I compare it to Bernie and Indy race parts with the 71 sprint car.
Mm-hmm.
Any guy that gets let go of their ride or needs a ride for the end of the year, Bernie usually lets them run it. And that's why we've seen so many guys in that car. But yeah.
And that's okay, because we need that in both instances. It has to happen, or these guys wouldn't be able to get more rides. So please keep Big Frog out of your mouth for hatred.
So we're going to get into this. You might like this, you might hate this, but sit back, grab some popcorn, because we're going to get into our predictions for the National Touring Series, starting with the late models. And this is just speculation. Some of it's confirmed, some of it's not. So this is just what we believe in, and this is open to discussion. So make sure to comment below if you disagree with us or agree with us. So starting out with the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. I know there's crazy stuff on X right now, not mentioning any names, but people saying ESPN is going to buy Flow Racing. Flow Racing is going to buy ESPN. Lucas Oil Late Model Series is not going to be a thing anymore next year, but we just put it together. If Lucas Oil stays around, which I think it is, shout out to Michael Rigsby, but just a list of who we think is going to be a full-time driver next year. I'll just go off and go down the list here, and we got Brandon Shepard in the Rocket One, Clay Harris, Josh Rice now in the JRR car. Maybe Tyler Bruning runs again. I know he fell out this past season. Brendan Smith confirmed on our Dirt X show that he's going to be running Lucas Oil next year. So shout out to the Florida Cracker there. 20 RT Ricky Thornton Jr. I imagine he wants to try to get a Lucas championship again after letting this one slip away. Maybe Daniel Hilsebeck comes back. Here's one that we kind of threw in there is Corey Hedgecock. I feel like Corey Hedgecock has had a great season this year, running a lot of Southern Thunder, Hunt the Front, even had some good runs at Eldora against the big boys. Maybe he throws his name in the hat. Big question here is Jonathan Davenport, and I know CushnBangn will comment on this, but we also got Garrett Alberson, Dan Ebert, Hudson O'Neill. This one I just threw out there, Dalton Wilson, maybe in a Riggs Motorsports 81 car. We'll talk about a little bit more on that. Corey Lawler, shout out to Corey. He's a great guy. Hopefully him and his dad continue next year. The reigning champion, Devin Moran. Everybody's favorite that I want to see happen with Skyline Motorsports is Dallin Murdy, the 99M, and then Max Blair might be making a return.
Ebert has confirmed to be back. He had a rough first half of the year. He's recovered well second half of the year. I'm excited to see it in late models. I think he's very talented. The Hedgecock one, we kind of both got intel right around the same time. You know, the funding switching to Longhorn. I'm not sure who the funding's from. Somebody said a name, but I can't remember. But that was for supposed rumored full-time Lucas shot, and I think he can do it. Davenport, come on, man, we do this every year, right? We do. I'm not committing. Well, then you see that you're doing well after Volusia, then you commit. It's been 2 years running in a row right now. Let's face it, Davenport will go Lucas, especially if he stays in the top five in points. He can't afford not to. Perm. I think it depends on where he lands. I think if he does get this Riggs ride, and I hope he does, I think it will be Lucas. But at the same time, I could see Riggs as a whole taking a step back a little bit. They've got their heads kicked in, what, 2, 3 years in a row. So I don't know. That jury's out on that one. But God, please let Murdy go Lucas.
Yeah, definitely be exciting if Murdy was able to, go to Skyline like it's been rumored and join Tyler Bruning, and run a full tour and see how he does. He's won everything under the sun, and now running with the big boys would really show his true talent. I know Max Blair's been getting a bad rap, but I've heard about him, wanting to return back to Lucas next year. And yeah, the big question really is here is, Dalton Wilson, where does he land? I've heard, maybe going to Riggs with Jaden Frame, because Jaden Frame's been doing really well as well with them. But, Overton's been the big question mark, and that's where we're going to move on to the Word of Outlaws, because maybe he makes the switch. So looking at the Word of Outlaws, Real American Beer late models, we got Brent Larson, Cody Overton, Brian Shirley, Donald McIntosh back in his number 7 with support with Coltman Farms Racing. Number 9 of Nick Hoffman, shout out to the Blue Deuce. 9M of Tim McCready, 12 Ashton Winger, if he doesn't get banned from every single sanction body. 19 of Dustin Sorensen, 19 art of Ryan Gustin, the 20cc of Tristan Chamberlain, 22 star of Drake Troutman, 28 of Dennis Erb Jr., 32 of Bobby Pierce, 40B of Kyle Brunson, maybe making a return back to full time. 49 of Jake Tim, making his national start with the Outlaws instead of Hunt the Front or Southern Thunder like we've seen them. Is Zach Mitchell moving up? Maybe. And then 74X of Ethan Dotson with ASD. And then maybe Brandon Overton parts ways with Regular Sports and runs over with the Outlaws.
I think that depends on the Longhorn program, right? I think if the Longhorn program stays, he's Dustin Lucas. I mean, you don't have the biggest chassis brand run, arguably, full disclosure, the second best series in America. I think if Overton keeps the Longhorn program and it goes to another team or what they figure out, he will be a Lucas. I think if he loses that, he's definitely going to be Woo or Hunt the Front. Is Overton staying in the 2 car? I mean, is that confirmed?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. I feel like Overton has had a up and down year. He's had some momentum at the end here.
He's tore a lot of shit up.
Yeah, he has been hard on equipment, but I know the car owner is very tight with Cody, and seems like going forward, who knows? We might see the Overton brothers join forces over there for all we know. Whether it's with Longhorn or not, that's the question. That's going to be the biggest factor. I know we both agree that that'll be the domino effect of if Longhorn House Car stays with Brandon Overton or moves to somebody else. I only put Donald McIntosh out there just because, like I said, he's a Coltman Farms sponsored driver. He's ran the 7 car before, and it would just be under Coltman Farms, and maybe getting the boot from Tanner English. Tanner is a great guy, no knock to him, but he's had a rough year as well. I know he got a coveted win not too long ago, which really was a boost in the ass for that. But yeah, it's just gonna be interesting here. I feel like a lot of these guys are just gonna be returning from last year, and then seems like everybody commits the Woo early on, but a lot of them fall off.
Yeah, I think that's something to do with the with some sort of, I don't know what it's called, but the placement money or whatever it is, the guaranteed money that they get or something. But then they, obviously try straight after speed weeks to do it. I don't want to skip over the Overton brothers. God, wouldn't that be a crew chief's worst fucking nightmare? You have one driver that loves running the bottom, slow and on the throttle, and then you have, his crazy ass brother that you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. If there's a cushion, he's gonna be hitting it. But you talk about a crew chief's nightmare. Holy moly. Um, I I'm curious to see kind of what happens here. I mean, Bobby, he's gonna run woo. He's married to, WRG. That's not gonna change. Larson as well. I feel like they're dedicated to it. Nick's already confirmed that he's gonna run woo. Um, Winger, I still think is kind of a crapshoot. I think it really kind of depends. I think he might go Hell Tour again if shit goes south, and I'd love to see it. I'm not mad at it. Anyway, I heard that Troutman wanted to change his scenery as far as the series goes. So I think that might be the X on our list here. I think he goes back Lucas.
Yeah, it really just depends. I know there's been rumblings about that, and there's been some, rumors that have been shut down about it. But I mean, let's be honest here. All these guys are going to go into February, run down at Volusia and Ocala and Alltech, and then kind of go from there on where they stand in the points to really see where they commit. But yeah, Troutman is he's one of those guys that just races. I mean,
Mhm.
he's down on crew guys. It's just literally him, Hunter, and our boy Scotty selling T-shirts at the trailer. GR's kind of been busy and kind of handed the keys over to Drake to kind of do his thing. So if they hire a crew chief, I think that could play a factor as well, because I think he does need somebody that give him a little more guidance on some of the tracks that he hasn't raced at, which after this year is not going to be many because he's ran I don't know how many
Yeah.
races this year. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on the 22 star. I think they'll be more of a decision maker come speed weeks.
Yeah, and I think the decision maker too is kind of where Perm lands. Um, if some of the rumors are true, then I think he's still got a shot at Lucas still. So, or son of a bitch, I think he's got a shot at running World Outlaws if he goes rigs because they've been kind of married to World Outlaws too. So I don't know. It's one big domino. I feel like there's one rock on the edge of a cliff, and as soon as that one goes, it's just gonna kaboom. And then all of a sudden, our predictions will be stupid or they'll be true. Last minute changes will happen, and then we could get a lot of mid-season changes too, still. So
For those who might have noticed, the 19M of the JCM Motorsports car wasn't on either list, and that's because I don't know what's going on over there. Obviously, Joseph Joyner was rumored to join that team next year, probably run Lucas, because I know the owner, Colton Miller, he's been very vocal that he wants to be a Lucas full-time team. He signed the agreement this year. I know Spencer Hughes didn't work out with them, and he just probably just wants a solid driver that he can race with for the rest of the 2026 season next year and not have any problems or not have any mutual parting ways, because man, it seems like a lot of guys get in there and then something happens and then they part ways. So um, obviously Joseph Joyner has been pretty solid, and I know we talked about this too, that
mhm.
Joyner was in the 19M. He had some solid finishes. I think he finished best of seventh in that car, so that's pretty good considering he's in a Capital in his Kubota number 10 car, and then running a Rocket XR 1.2, I believe, is what he was running. So yeah, what are your thoughts about that?
I feel like there's a huge free agent that'll do that for them. And I feel like he's got an afro on his head and without a ride. If I had a prediction, I think Perm goes to the 19 car. Um, I just feel like that's a good glove fit. At the same time, Perm is a Longhorn guy by nature, so putting him in a Rocket, if they stay a Rocket, I think there's going to be sacrifices made on both parts if they want to find, a Rocket guy to drive the Rocket. Selection's kind of limited. If Perm's open to driving the Rocket, then that kind of sways me more that way. If Perm says no, I want to stick with the Longhorn, then I'm leaning toward a Riggs car. But like I said, I feel like and I feel like it's one big domino, and it's all riding on the 76 car, and that's going to dictate a lot of different ways. But no, Dante Overlook Joyner, I felt like, and I've told you this, I felt like he was a top mid card car. I felt like he had a lot of speed, and I thought that program was working, and then I don't know if he just didn't think it was or what, but from outside looking in, I thought he looked better in that car than he does his own stuff. So I was kind of surprised at that.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, a lot of the Rocket guys have switched from the 1.2s to XR2s. And seems like, from what I heard, that JCM is ordering some XR2s. So, yeah, it should be intriguing if there is a Rocket driver out there that wants to get behind the newest and greatest technology of Daddy Richards. So, we'll see. I do like the Dalton Wilson move, but like we said, it's not official till it's official. And moving over to the Wing Sprint cars, and man, a lot of news happening in the last couple of weeks. I know the biggest one was Brad Sweet retiring after I don't know how many years out there. He came from the USAC background, just as this young kid from California, getting a shot with the non-wing stuff, and gets picked up by Casey Kane, and that was his career, right? He wins all those championships with the Route Outlaws, starts high limit with Kyle Larson, and now is going into this more ownership role. Obviously, he's co-owner with Kyle Larson for High Limit. Just bought the NARC series with Kevin Radine. He's a big promoter for Silver Dollar Speedway. What are your thoughts of that? I was at Talladega. I probably don't remember much from that night other than Brad Sweet retiring.
Well deserved. I feel like it's the absolute perfect time for him. I mean, he could go, lie in misery for another couple years, and then we'll be talking about him like we talk about Donnie Shots, right? I feel like it's the absolute perfect time. He's got a good pathway to go. He's not got his hands up in the air trying to figure out what he wants to do. His future is set, and I feel like he has nothing to hang his head about. And I feel like they picked the absolute top free agent to put in that car.
Yeah, no, we'll go ahead and talk about that. Dason Pursley joining the Casey Kane Racing team, obviously replacing Brad Sweet now that Casey Kane and both Brad Sweet have taken a step back from full time racing. And yeah, it's definitely exciting. Obviously, Pursley was High Limit Rookie of the Year this year with the High Limit Sprint cars. And I know I heard rumors about it, and I was already twiddling my thumbs and fingers on getting a design out there. So I was sitting on this, but I'm glad it ended up not going to junk. So I posted about, Pursley and the Napa colors, which I think would look pretty cool with the Casey Kane's number 9. And I know I posted this and Casey Kane liked it. So, hey, Casey, if you're watching, let me know and we can work on it.
Yeah, no, they did everything right. I feel like it was obviously premeditated, but I'd love to be a fly on the wall when that conversation happened because Kersley's done everything possible to earn this right. He has had arguably one of the greatest years in push and flips that I've seen in a long time. JJ Yaley like year almost, and he's just or CV like whatever you want to call it, but he's definitely the top prospect. They picked the right person, and props to all of them for working all this out in the midst of the craziness that has been, sprint car season.
Another breaking news this past weekend, Spencer Baston announced that he is joining Stenhouse Junior Marshall Racing in the NOS Energy Drink number 17 to replace Sheldon Haudenschild. Obviously, big news. A lot of people have been trying to figure out who is going to replace Sheldon. This coming Charlotte World Final is going to be the last one for Sheldon and this iconic NOS Energy Drink team. If you go over to Dirt Vision, Connor Wade had a great interview with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., where he kind of talks about what went on behind the scenes, and they hinted at they were going to hire, and it ended up being Baston. And I know we've been talking about it here on the Dirt X podcast on who was going to get this ride, and yeah, Baston was one of those guys out there. He didn't have the best year in the Jason Myers number 14 with High Limit. Parted ways after Knoxville and has been running pretty solid. He ran out west with the Tarleton 21 and works on limited W car with Paul Silva and kind of raised his stock. So definitely helped him get this ride. I know they interviewed a lot of candidates, but at the end of the day, I think Baston is just a good guy to represent the NOS brand. My dad calls him the banker Baston just because he's a corporate guy looking, not your typical rough looking sprint car guy from back in the day. But, what are your thoughts on this? I know Ricky said he wants a championship next year, and I just don't know if Baston's going to be able to do that next year for him.
So there's a lot of hate going on social media for it, and I see it and I understand it. I'm going to use a football reference here. So this reminds me of when the Cowboys had to sign Dak Prescott. Okay. They paid him God knows how much money. First off, props to his management team because they had everybody by the balls. But the reason they did is because, look, your team needs a quarterback, right? Who's out there that can take that role? The options are kind of limited, especially with Pursley boxed up. He was probably boxed up months ago. So maybe even more than that. We don't know. But I feel like the options are limited, and I feel like the championship contenders are already locked in rides. Obviously, the chips fell with Rico and Stewart, and your top guys are already out. So they had to make a move. And that's what I said 4 episodes ago. I don't know. Jury's out, but they had to make a move, and this is the best they got for what's available.
I think Baston has a lot to prove, or else this is going to be another scenario where he's been kicked out of the CJB ride, kicked out of the Jason Myers ride. He's got these top of the line equipment. He's just got to get it done. It might be a mental thing. I know Connor Wade interviewed Spencer Baston as well and had a good conversation with him and kind of seeing where he was coming from. But definitely going to be interesting to see, especially coming up here in the next couple weeks at the World Finals. Obviously, not only is it Sheldon's last ride in this car, but they'll be fielding a second NOS 17 car for Spencer to kind of get a head start. Seems like Kyle Pruitt's got things going over there. He's the new crew chief after leaving Logan Schuchart. Yeah, just have to see what happens with this team.
Is Hod confirmed keeping Nos, or is that still up in the air?
Yeah, so I mean, I've heard some things from my inner circle that Nos might be continuing to support Sheldon in a small role. I know there's some guys out west that are Nos athletes, but they're just not the same as a Tyler Courtney or Nick Hoffman. So I think Lauren Albano, she does a great job with Nos and the marketing team. So I think the relationship with Sheldon is going to continue, just not in the same role, but. We could see Sheldon on the move here. It's towards the KCP 18 car. A lot of people have talked about it, especially our old pal Dirt Tracker over there. He's been talking about it as well. So if he does, that's Selzy's old ride, and seems like it hasn't been the same since Gio up and quit.
Yeah, so I think that's probably what best case scenario where you can land. I mean, I feel like in that he's the free agent, and where do you go? And you try to pick the best opportunity, and I feel like that's the best one currently. So
Yep, and moving on to our projected full-time drivers now with the sprint cars. So we're going to start out with the Ward of Outlaws and Austin Energy Drink sprint cars. We just mentioned Sheldon, and I have him here going to the KCP 18 car. Just makes the most sense. I know some people are maybe saying that he goes over to High Limit. Who knows? He might need a fresh start, and KCP wants a fresh start and goes over there. But I think at the end of the day, they're an outlaw team and they stay here. But we have the usual Logan Schuchart, David Gravel, Cole Macedo is already confirmed for next year. I threw this one in here as Brock Zierfoss. I heard a little bit for some of my sources that Brock is interested in coming back to the Outlaws next year. He ran 2 cars this year between the Eichenberg number 8 car in Pennsylvania and his family-owned 3Z car. So maybe he brings back the 3Z and he gets back on the Outlaw Tour. This one's a big question mark, and I know I've had Zach on my other podcasts, and he was a fun guest, but there's been a lot of weird stuff going on at Bill Rose Racing. So I don't know if Zach Hampton comes back in the 6 car next year, especially if there's any fireworks anywhere near a racetrack. He might get a little triggered, but no, we don't know if Bill Rose in the 6 will have Zach Hampton back. But if it does, hopefully he rebounds next year. Chris Wyndham's been a great addition to the Outlaws. I think he's had the best year he's ever had in a wing sprint car. I think he comes back with Sides Motorsports, and he almost won Rookie of the Year this year. It seems like Garrett Williamson's going to win that, but obviously Spencer Baston now in the 17s confirmed. Bill Baylog, man, shout out to Bill Baylog. He's had a great year. The one-man band, works on his own equipment, doesn't have a bunch of corporate sponsor backing, and he's up in 7th in the point standing. So shout out to Bill Baylog this year. Garrett Williamson's probably going to come back. My buddy Connor Morell from Florida, I don't know if he's going to come back or not. He's had a rough year, but hopefully he does. Carson Macedo, there's been talk about them, but I think that's Jason Johnson, the Racing's outlaw team. So Hunter Sherberg, big questions around that too with the Vermeer Racing team. Buddy Kofoid, he's definitely staying Outlaws, and Skylar G, he's had an up and down year, but I know Logan Fenton Racing is looking forward to being Outlaws.
yeah, I don't think this is done yet. I don't think that what we're looking at is going to be the end result. I feel like this is one big checkerboard of jumping red and black, and it's going to be a free for all before the season starts.
It will be interesting to see because a lot of these guys on the list have ran this year. So who knows? All it takes is one guy to drop out. And obviously, I didn't put Donnie Schatz on this list because let's be honest, though, nobody knows what's going on with Donnie right now.
Mhm.
There's unknown sources about where he's going to end up next year. And I think we just need to take in Charlotte World Finals and pay a little bit more attention to that 15 car as he takes his laps around the Charlotte dirt track.
Yeah, it might be the last one, and if it is, nobody's mad. Shouldn't be, at least.
Moving on to high limit, right? Everybody's been talking about how Rico Abreu was able to win the championship this year over Brad Sweet and Aaron Reitzel. It was a tight points battle, not so tight over on the Outlaw side. David Gravel's pretty much got it wrapped up for Charlotte World Finals and go back to back, but this could be exciting. I put Ashton Torges in here. I know they kind of spilled the beans on social media about this, but I kind of knew ahead of time that Shark Racing wanted Ashton to be in that car next year. Just depended on if he wanted to go Outlaws or High Limit, but all signs point to Ashton being over on High Limit. Would be exciting Rookie of the Year contender. Brendan Crouch is confirmed to be back with CJB Motorsports in the number 5 with High Limit next year. We talked about Dason Persley joining Casey Kane Racing. That's going to be exciting to watch. Chase Randall had it up and down year this year, but I'm sure he'll be back in his car. This one's going to get fun because Tanner Holmes is a big personality in dirt racing, right? If you watch YouTube, like you're probably watching right now on your TV screen, Tanner Holmes is a big personality, and people want him to run a national tour. And he ran well with Tarleton 21 team this year out west. Had some really good finishes against big competition. I think High Limit needs Tanner Holmes because not only did Tanner Holmes put a little sneak peek on Facebook, I wish I had the screenshot, but down in the comments, High Limit's page said, call us, meaning Tanner, you need to get your butt over to High Limit because they're going to sell tickets. It's going to put people in the grandstands. And I want to hear your thoughts on this cushion banging because I know we're all about promotion, right?
Yeah, so first and foremost, yes, while I agree with you, I'm going to go on record and state High Limit does enough by themselves. This is I don't know the words I want to use here. They are the premier series in my eyes, and I'm not obviously a big push and flip guy, but when I turn on and I see High Limits on, I'm going to pick that over most, right? Unless
Mhm.
it's of course late model racing, but while you say, High Limit needs Tanner, no, they don't need Tanner. They don't. But ain't nobody in this world going to be mad if he goes, right? He's going to sell the tickets just like you said. He's going to do everything. And I love Tanner. I've watched him come up. My kid followed his YouTube forever. And I feel like what's being overlooked here a little bit is Dason Persley. I think Tanner's kind of stealing the spotlight with the hype and everything, but I feel like Dason Persley coming in here with the ride that he's got is like staying up too late playing video games and your parents walk in the room. Everybody needs to be on notice. This kid has proved he can do it, and I don't think there's going to be a huge learning curve here. And I could be dead wrong. I could be, but I feel like he's going to come in and he's going to immediately be a contender for that title on every checkered flag possible.
Yeah, glad you kind of mentioned that because obviously Dason just left the Book 13 ride, and this is where I have Tanner Holmes going to. I just feel like, with the Book Motorsports team having their franchise locked up with High Limit without them selling it to another team that wants to come in, if they plan on running next year, I think your best bet is to get a Tanner Holmes because obviously he ran well with Shark Racing when he got that chance. He's run well with Tarleton 21. Like you said, Heimlich doesn't really need Tanner Holmes, but I think it would just be a great addition because he brings a lot of the people from the West Coast, more eyes on the sport, and it seems like the great scenario between Tanner. I know Emerson Axon's been thrown around out there. He's ran well in his 27 car, had a short-lived stint in the KCP 18 car, but I could see Axon maybe going to the Boot 13 car if Tanner Holmes doesn't work out. Or maybe a Justin Sanders too, another West Coast guy. But we'll have to wait and see. Moving on though, Tyler Courtney obviously had that devastating back injury again this year, and he should be good to go coming back, is what my sources tell me. Gio Selzy, this will be interesting because obviously Jason Myers Racing is 95%, pretty sure they have sold their charter to Clausen Marshall Racing with Spire Motorsports coming. So if anybody pays attention to NASCAR, Spire Motorsports is a big NASCAR team, and they're looking to get more involved with the dirt. They've sponsored Tyler Courtney this year, and it'll be exciting to bring another national team with Spire and bring them back to the grassroots of dirt. So I think it's all good for grassroots racing, especially sprint car racing. And obviously, Geo's probably going to get this ride. And I don't know if it's going to be the 14 BC car or not. Obviously, that was Jason Meyer's racing number, and maybe they pass it on to Clausen Marshall Racing. But either way, pretty sure Geo's going to be here next year. Brent Marks, great end of the year this year, won some races, and he's definitely going to be back next year. Obviously, Rico and Tony Stewart Racing are confirmed. That's going to be an exciting combination. My buddy Danny Sams got his first Highland win this year on a 10-lap shortened race, but hey, you got to get it how you get it. So I know Danny had some ups and downs this year, but I know him and Dave from Moxie and Rocky, his car owner, are all committed to trying to get Danny to be full-time out on a national tour. So Justin Peck is committed with Rudine Racing to be in the 26 again next year with High Limit. Cy Lynch is not 100% confirmed for High Limit, but I know he enjoyed it being out there with High Limit this year, and I expect him to be back. Aaron Weitzel, man, I think he's going to be one of the favorites to win next year. It's going to be probably between, Rico, Aaron, Courtney, and Pursley, maybe even. So keep your eye on Aaron Weitzel. And last but not least, I know CushnBangn really likes Tanner Thorson. I like Tanner Thorson, and that's I'm pretty sure he's going to run next year. I think it is confirmed already. So definitely excited to see that 88 car.
I feel like the stage is set here for possibly the greatest racing sitcom if they ever wanted to make one. Let's go down the list. And is Ashton the one that fell out of the car at the Chili Bowl, or is that his brother?
That was Ashton, yes.
Okay. What a comeback. This kid had a belt failure. Nobody's saying it's a belt failure. We can't say that. Sorry. The fucking kid fell on his head upside down at the Chili Bowl and is now in a fucking full-time high limit ride, supposedly. So great. Dason Pursley, new blood on the block. Then you have who was it getting the Spire money?
It'll be Clausen Marshall Racing would join forces with Spire with Geo.
Stupid. Stay out of our sport. Anyway, no, seriously, like, and that's kind of I compare that to like, what if Hendrick came over and said, "Hey, you know what? We want a late model team. Don't come fucking gold dig our shit. Stay over there. We've earned every right to be, better liked and better loved than NASCAR. Stay the fuck in your lane. You picked that over there to begin with. Stay there. Don't come over here and throw money at it and fuck our shit up just because you see the future of it. You picked it's like fucking marrying somebody and then going out saying, oh, you know what? I don't like you quite that much anymore. I'm going to switch. No, stay the fuck over there. And I feel like we have a few anti-heroes to do that with Tanner Holmes and both the Tanners and Tanner Thorson. And I'm starting to become a bigger fan of Aaron Russell. We need a heel, and he is it. But this is possibly the greatest, just conflict of personalities and storylines. And this is the first time I've been excited about push and flips for a long time. But yeah, clip that, do whatever you need to do. But Spire, stay the fuck over there.
Let's mention about that because before we conclude today's episode, I'm kind of curious because obviously we've seen Carson Hoskovar running at Charlotte, testing out his late model. Obviously, we've seen him running before, and that new Longhorn that he's got behind the wheel of is from Spire, and seems like Spire is getting more and more involved. So obviously, you don't really agree with it with the push and flips, but do you agree with it with the late models? Because we've seen even Nice Motorsports be fielding cars now, and they're a truck series team.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to that a little bit, but no, I still don't like it. I mean, I'm going to go on record. I don't look so stupid now, right? I knew that car was for the dome. Him and Cody are close. Cody, worked for Nice for a long time, probably still does. I don't know for sure. But I'm not the biggest fan of it. And man, it sells some merch a little bit for the what's the word I want to use? Uneducated fans, the undiehard fans. It'll sell some shirts, but there's none. I'm not going to buy a shirt. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't think anybody like me is going to go buy a shirt. You look like the type of guy that would, so I'll just say that for you.
He's gonna
But
have a Chili's themed late model. Are you kidding me? I love Chili's. I got Chili's chips in my microwave right now from yesterday.
yeah, I mean, that'd be really fucking cool if it was somebody else. Anyway, no, I don't like it, and I don't like it. And we've had big money teams in fenders before. With Clint Boyer fielding 3 or 4 cars, and I feel like he got out at the completely wrong time. He got out right before we fucking sent the roller coaster up. And I bet you he's kicking himself in the ass a little bit because if he was still around now, I think the game would be totally different. But he saw it. He was too early, and but no, stay the fuck out of our shit, man. If you guys want to field and go have fun with some cars, go run ASA, go hook up with Dale Jr. and run whatever, fucking asphalt shit they're going. But let this shit these guys have built it to get here and they're trying to make a living with it and they deserve it. Don't come in here and fuck it up.
Well, I have to say, especially with the sprint car side of things, that if it wasn't for those NASCAR guys that, either retired or still active and them coming back and running dirt car teams, there wouldn't be as many guys getting opportunities out there. We just talked about Casey
Hmm.
Racing and Jason Persley. If Casey Kane didn't come back from NASCAR and fielded stuff, Brad Sleet wouldn't have the career that he had.
Uh-huh.
Tony Stewart getting Rico. I mean, those guys are going to be the perfect pairing, right? Those guys
Hmm.
have been friends for God knows how long. So Stenhouse is still pouring money in, and he's an active NASCAR Cup Series driver. So
Uh-huh.
if it wasn't for those guys, signing the checks that are racing on Sundays, a lot of those guys wouldn't be out there.
Yeah, but what's the key word you just mentioned there? Drivers, not suits. That's my issue, not drivers. And let's face it, they all started here and came back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Casey Kane was one of the greatest talents I've ever witnessed, when in his prime, similar to JJ Yeley. Stenhouse was great, and there's a difference for me for drivers themselves coming back. Yes, they're helping. That we need them. Absolutely. But keep the Spire suits and whoever else, that, is sitting in front of their laptops like me and you right now looking at spreadsheets like, man, dirt racing's on the move. We got to get involved. No, stay the fuck out.
Well, we definitely made some points here, and just know that all this stuff is either confirmed or unconfirmed, and a lot of it's just either rumors or ideas that we're just pushing out there. So we do appreciate for those who have tuned in to episode 9. Looking forward to hopefully getting some more guests on. I know obviously the season's winding down with racing, so hopefully the drivers have some more time to get on here, or even crew guys, engineers, personalities in dirt racing. We want to hear from you. You want to come on, talk some racing, and hopefully you can join us. So appreciate everyone for watching. And is there anything left you want to mention, CushnBangn?
I know Brett still has some. Go to dirtdiecastdeals.com. Get you a free koozie.
Definitely go over there to dirtdiecastdeals.com. And I know I just mentioned about the season coming down, and well, we're going to have nothing to do, right? We have a bunch of free time, so might as well go shopping, get ourselves some diecast, and maybe we can just play around with cars going around in circles like little kids again to keep us occupied.
Yeah, whatever you say, Bob.
Again, for everyone who subscribes and tags us in content, and we'll see you guys in the next one.